Now, we still have a situation where I don't have a keyboard. I've got like 5 freaking XT or AT keyboards. Not one of them is auto switching or compatible with XT mode at all. It just isn't. So, anyway, my model, so I got Welcome back, everyone. This is the IBM 5160 that I purchased at VCF East 2023. Buyer's remorse is setting in a little bit as I have very limited space for displaying desktop PCs, but I have a plan. This guy is going to sit on my desk at work. I have a very large desk. It's actually huge. And in one corner, I've got actually I have 2 desks in my office. One of them has a compact portable. Well, that baby's coming home. This is going to take its place. And it's actually a little bit more visually, what's the word I'm looking for? Visually striking than the compact portable. At least this is recognizable as a computer. Computer 1.0. Anyway. So, let's continue the saga from our previous video. So, I came without a keyboard. And as anyone knows, in 2023, original IBM XT or Model F keyboards, which actually date back, I think, possibly even earlier than the original PC. The Model F keyboards are stupid expensive. They can sell for up to $400, $500 for a really good example, or $150 for one that doesn't completely function. Crazy, I know, but here we are in 2023. I want to say a special thanks to the keyboard poachers for making that possible. The good news is the keyboard poachers are at least keeping them in the marketplace, whereas most of them would have ended up in the scrap bin by now. Hello? Can I help you? Everyone who has suggested use an AT keyboard that auto switches or has a switch to XT mode, I'm aware that those keyboards exist. I do not own one. Rather, I invested nearly $200 in a nearly fully functional Model F. The problem is the person who is selling it is a little flaky, and it should have shipped about a week ago. It's in transit just now. I think he shipped it yesterday. When called to the carpet, now this is an eBay purchase. When called to the carpet, he claims, and I'm not gonna be that guy. He claims he was doing college exams. Not going to be the guy to say, well, you shoulda, and I'm mad, and I'm going to give negative. No. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt if it shows up in a timely manner. But, and as that saying goes, it should be here tomorrow. And we'll continue the video. If it shows up tomorrow, we'll continue the video with a keyboard. So, yes, I have yet to test this machine fully. I don't know what the status is of the internal hard drive. I just don't know. What I do know, though, is that this video setup is not going to do it for me. So the original PC and the XT, by default, the less expensive display option, was to have a text-only display adapter and the 5151 monitor, which is designed to work with that adapter. Well, that is a solution that doesn't really cut it. Even back then, that just wasn't really enough. So a company came along called Hercules. Hercules. You ever see that movie? Dr. Dolittle, I think it is. Anyway, the first thing that came to my mind. The Hercules display adapter is supposed to solve that problem. In fact, it was such a big problem that this company made a fortune selling just adapters for these machines. And then the Hercules became a standard all in its own. And it's such a great thing, you know? But this is a Hercules plus, I believe. I don't know what the plus means, but actually it's documented. I have to look. I'm not one of those guys who can read a wiki page and then recite it to you from memory. I'm not Westlife. I'm also not a walking encyclopedia like Westlife. We can't all be like Westlife. By the way, check out Westlife. Great guy, great channel. Anyway. Anyway, so this showed up about a day after I ordered it on eBay. Turns out the seller was actually the next town over. I could have walked over and grabbed it, but instead I paid to have it shipped because I'm a simp. All right, let's go ahead and put this in. I want to see if at least the display adapter works. I mean, come on, I got to make some content out of this. Got to make some lemons out of lemonade. Now all I got to do is find me a flathead screwdriver. For those of you who reached out to me about my hard drive situation, just a little more on that. My plan was to find at least a 20 megabyte IBM brand full height MFM drive with matching controller. This is a replacement drive. It's about 30 megabytes or so, 35 megabytes. I have decided I'm probably going to leave the drive as is. It is part of the machine's history. It is a period correct upgrade. I may just leave it alone. But it doesn't mean I'm going to turn down some of the great offers I got for drives and controllers. Two folks have who are both within driving distance of me have offered to sell me a drive and a controller that would be a good match for this system. So for now, we're going to leave this alone. The drive sounds healthy, and I think I can get it back in shape. What I've usually had to do with these drives is I go into using the debug command. You can in DOS 3.3 or higher, you can access the drives or the controller's settings, and you can usually format the drive if it doesn't. These drives, I mean, they are pretty damn reliable. I've got to say, I have very few examples in my past where they didn't work. If they didn't work, it was usually the result of operator error, and they can usually be brought right back to life. Why is the heat on? I thought I shut it off. Because I got the door open. Damn it. All right, I took care of that. So what I want to do now is we'll pull the graphics card, which is a massive card. All right, let's pull that out. Now, there's the upgrading it to a Hercules isn't as straightforward. I mean, there is software that should be installed. I don't have that software with me, but it shouldn't be that hard to find. Hercules adapters were so common and so... See, look at how much smaller this is. So the Hercules card has a built-in parallel, and what looks like... This is not CGA. Do not plug your CGA monitor into this card. You can damage the monitor, or vice versa. And this can't be plugged into a CGA interface either. Even though they share the same connector, they are not compatible with each other. At least not entirely. It may display an image, but it can do it at the wrong refresh rate or something or other, and it can cause damage. There are no configuration jumpers on this board, which is nice. So you just plop it in there, which kind of surprises me because the parallel port you would think would have configuration jumpers for that. So you can set the IRQ and all that, but no. All right. Just plop it in there. I'm not even going to button the thing up. I'm just going to plug in the monitor and just hope for the best. And the original card, we'll save this. Again, no configuration jumpers anywhere. Kind of surprising to me, I guess. But look at how... And this is just a text card. Now, in the context of 1984, when this was built, May of 1984 to be exact, that even that card just out the gate was already outdated. The software that was written for this machine would have had completely ASCII-based output. Just there would have been no text of any kind. I mean, no graphics of any kind. And you can make again, some software was made with like ASCII graphics, but that's it. You can't play Zaxxon on this thing. It will not run. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't think so. I don't think so. But, all right, let's plug in the monitor. So the benefit of the Hercules card, and if you want to learn more about the Hercules card and what it can do, its specs, all the modes it supports, there is plenty of info on the web on those. There's an entire wiki page dedicated to them. They were that common. Here we go. Thought I heard something blow up. Listen to that fan. Remember, that is... Oh, look at that. It does work. So it does display it does display video, so that's a good sign. Of course, we don't know what's on this hard drive, and the only way to know... Yeah, I gotta get that damn keyboard. Hopefully it shows up when it's supposed to be here tomorrow. And if it is, what I'll do is I'll just tack it onto this video and we'll kind of do some exploration. But yeah, this fan, we got to pull this out. It's an Etri fan. That's who makes it. It's 120 volts. What is it, 80 millimeters? There's a floppy, seek, error, resume, F1. So yeah, we've got a display output. So and I've got a keyboard. I know the keyboard fuse isn't blown because when you power it on, the indicators light up. And here's the beauty part of it. Okay, this is the beauty part because this is such a common machine and it's such a simple logic board. It's a very simple board of this. It shouldn't take much to get this thing running. If this thing had a blown keyboard controller, I bet you Mauser has them in stock. Probably not, but finding a replacement board should be a breeze if it came to that, which is why I was willing to pay, the $100. This was $100. Just FYI, this is $100. This was $100 combined there too. The keyboard was the most expensive part because of the freaking scalpers. And they're using them for TikTok videos or some shit. I don't know what kids do anymore because I'm almost 40, so I'm the same age as this machine, so I'm pretty much irrelevant. And by the way, you young kids, you're gonna be facing that situation soon enough. So don't even snicker, because you're gonna be there too. I promise. If you're not already there, you're gonna be like, wait, marketing departments don't care about me anymore? What? You mean society doesn't care about what I think? That's right, Buttercup. You'll be there soon too. So go ahead and scalp your keyboards because eventually the next generation of kids, they'll be like, keyboards? We don't use those anymore. That's baby stuff. It'll be like that scene in Back to the Future 2 where Elijah Wood is like playing a shoot 'em up game, and Michael J. Fox is like, hey, I'm a crack shot of that game. Anyway. Well, hopefully tomorrow we'll have a freaking keyboard and we'll be able to do some actual work on this thing. But we have a functioning Hercules on deck. At least it seems to be functioning. Now, what is the end game here? Well, this is a machine that I am going to do a complete and thorough restoration on. I'm going to pull every electrolytic out of it. I'm going to replace every single one on every card, on every module, power supply, display, you name it, it's getting it. All new electrolytics. We want to preserve this machine, and I wanted the Hercules card to increase the amount of software that I could run with it. A lot of early games did in fact call out Hercules as a potential system requirement. So you either had to have a CGA, EGA, or Hercules. And we now have a Hercules. This is a relic from the past. We won't be throwing this away. We'll be hanging on to it. Because it's a piece of history all in its very own. You're probably wondering why I have a Teddy Ruxpin. I just realized that's sitting there. Let me tell you the story of the Teddy Ruxpin, and then we're going to wind up the video. So, when I was a child in the 80s, because I'm old, apparently, I had an original Teddy Ruxpin, which is basically looks just like this, but there was a cassette deck in the back, and you could put a tape in it, and the eyes would move, and the mouth would move. So the Teddy Ruxpin used, I believe it used a stereo cassette tape. And, it would use one track for audio and the other track for motion, for the mouth and the eyes and such. And a lot of kids my age had these growing up, and they were considered very expensive, very advanced toys for the time period, you see. And being the kind of kid who liked to tear things apart, by the time I was about 5 years old in 1989, I was 5, I wanted to know how he worked. So I did what any normal 5-year-old kid would do. I tore his face off, and I looked at how it was put together and how the mouth moved and how the eyes, there were motors in there. Of course, I didn't understand what all those parts were, as I would now. But my mom, upon seeing, I showed her. I was like, hey, Mom, look, check this out. And she flipped her shit. Absolutely flipped her shit. She was so mad. That was, 35 years ago? To this very day, she still brings it up. No joke. I'll go visit her right now. I'll go to my parents' house, like, hey, Mom. And then she'll say, hey, remember that Teddy Ruxpin that we bought you that was so expensive and you tore his face off? I'm like, yes. Love you too, Mom. Good to see you. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit. Anyway, Amelia thought it would be funny to buy me a Teddy Ruxpin. So she did. This is what she got me. And this is the modern version of the Teddy Ruxpin. It's all electronic. Look at that. It uses cartridges. And she even got some of these cartridges with it too. I think there's 2 in there. I see just one. They're little cartridges, and it does the same thing that the cassettes would do. And I need to dust. Oh my God. Sorry, my housekeeping skills. But it doesn't end there. I was looking this thing over, and I saw the tag on the back. Check this out. Excuse me. Where is it? Look at this. Teddy Ruxpin, Backpack Toys, Milford, New Hampshire. Now, I lived in Milford, New Hampshire for a number of years. My parents lived there for a number of years. 20 years to be exact. And I never knew. So the Teddy Ruxpin and there was a Mother Goose one too. My grandmother had one. Those toys were originally made by Wonders of Worlds, or WOW or something like that. I remember saying wow. Wizard of Wonders, or World of Wonders, that's it. And World of Wonders has sold the Teddy Ruxpin to another company. And then it was sold again and again. I actually bought one for my nephew, which was made recently. And it has downloadable content and digital eyes. But this one, I think, is pretty rare because that company was only in business for a short, maybe 5 years. Maybe 5 years. And the guy who owned the company died and the building went up for sale. But Teddy Ruxpin. That's why I have a Teddy Ruxpin. She thought it was funny. It still sits there. It's whatever. It was a fun thing she got me. I've never put batteries in it. She bought it used. Obviously, she bought it used. And that's the story of the Teddy Ruxpin. But back to this glorified calculator. We've got work to do. I got to get that XT keyboard. Supposedly it has a spacebar key that doesn't work. That should be easy. This battery right here for the AST 6-Pack Plus, we'll be getting a battery for that. I need the software for this card to fully enable it, which, again, that shouldn't be too hard to come across, but it might be a little difficult because AST has been out of business for a little while. But I'm sure somebody's got a disk image of it somewhere. If the hard drive is fully functional, I cannot wait to see what's on this machine. It may even have the 6-Pack Plus software already loaded, which would be kind of nice. And then maybe we'll find the Hercules software that one might have for this. And then I'll clean it up a little bit. We'll do a complete recap of the entire system. We're going to replace that fan or rebuild that fan if I can get it apart. Maybe get some bearings that fit it. But the way things are right now, I'm looking at potentially leaving the hard drive well enough alone. If it works, why replace it? There's just no legitimate reason to do anything with it. And I'll admit, one of the reasons I wanted one of these is kind of foolish. I'm a huge Alf fan. And in the early seasons of Alf, one of these was in Willie Tanner's garage. And it was replaced with an IBM PS2. There's actually, if you look really carefully in the video, the XT, or it could have been a PC, I don't know. I think it was an XT because I think it had dual floppy drives. The monitor was changed out at least once. At some point in the series, they changed the monitor. And then they replaced the machine a couple of times with different models of PS2. And so if you're really into that kind of stuff. And the IBM PC in general, this is an iconic machine. It has been in so many movies and TV shows. It's an icon from its time. Kind of like the counterpart to the Apple II and the early Mac. The IBM PC and XT, which share a case, pretty much identical cosmetically, they have both been just well represented in 80s pop culture and in both print and in film. On that note, we will. This video is running a little long. We'll do another video when I get the keyboard all set up. And hopefully we have a functioning system here. If we don't, I've got a full workshop in the basement, so I don't think we'll have a problem with it. Until then, guys, have a great day.